I'm talking to Roger McAfee, former Crown prosecutor in Vancouver City, defense lawyer, um, business lawyer, specialist in union matters and that kind of thing, and the author of The Warm, Dry Boat and a wonderful log. If you've got a boat and you need a log to keep your boat going, or the thing about, was it building steel ships?
Yeah, repairing steel hulls.
Repairing steel hulls.
Yeah.
Three good books that I remember. There was a fourth one too, wasn't there?
Yeah, I edited and published that one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, making a go. We've been talking about boats in the past, and they'll be up again. Today we're talking about the RCMP, the justice system. We'll talk about the LAPD. This is, small world stuff, right? My ex-roommate, I got to get it straight now. My ex-roommate, son, dated Mark Furman's daughter, or his daughter dated Mark Furman's son. And Mark Furman has moved down to within a block or two of my ex-roommate in Idaho. It's amazing where my good friend Larry Leffler was a detective on the Beverly Hills Police Force who used my motorhome, and I think you remember my old 33-foot motorhome with all the writing on it. He used it as a blind down in L.A. and Beverly Hills, and I understand it was part of the, I can't remember his name now. Who was the guy that they did? John DeLorean, in the DeLorean Coke bust. And he's the guy that came up and then arrested and took back to the States. What the heck was his name? The guy in the, how can I forget his name? I'm going to get it yet. There was a murder in Beverly Hills, and I'm sorry, I'll remember it. John Major, not John Major. I'm embarrassed. It was.
It'll come to you.
Hughes was in that. Hughes was involved in the. You know what I mean. Doesn't matter anyway. So these guys and all these different police forces. Jamie Graham was the head of the RCMP in North Vancouver. Went to become the head of the Vancouver City Police Force. Wrote that thing about a day on the shooting range was better than a bad day on the shooting range was better than a good day at the office. Now he's the Victoria Police Chief.
Yep.
Old Bob Stewart I know quite well. Great winemaker. There's so many good police around.
Tremendous.
But they do have a cadre, and in lots of cases it's us or them. Pat Westfall, who was the RCMP officer, CLU representative, remember, between the combined law enforcement, between the RCMP and the Vancouver City Police when they started that, totally good friend. And Richard Pitt, who's presenting this, did some work for Pat when they were doing some surveillance work. We set up some cameras with frame grabbers to look at, in the old days. Remember, Richard? We were using Amiga computers, we were taking pictures of parking lots of bad guys, right?
Yeah.
Sending them across a telephone line.
Sending them across a telephone line. What a concept.
At the time, it was quite a concept.
It was. Anyway, making a long story short, I've known some wonderful police officers, known a couple of yahoos, but what's really funny is how close the bad guys and the police officers have been in their youth, right?
Well, you see, as I was growing up, one of my best friends in high school was an RCMP, became an RCMP officer, did Northern service and everything, went on to, and just a great guy.
Yep.
And I've known, and I worked as a city prosecutor and knew lots of really good policemen. But it's the RCMP more than, the municipal police forces are generally more responsive. They're generally, it's not quite the same. But the RCMP, first of all, it's all handled out of Ottawa. All right. Yep. So you have no local accountability. It's all a contract, no local accountability. But that corporate culture, and you got to remember, we as citizens are responsible for this too. We love the old days of the RCMP. When Sitting Bull came across the border, we sent one guy. Steele went over and had a little chat with them, and everything was fine. and they have this thing that they can do no wrong. For instance, the other thing they do, and all police forces do this to a certain extent, but the RCMP in particular, they blame everybody else. We've talked about this. But the other people they blame are the judges.
Yeah.
And if something goes wrong, it's not the police fault. It's the judge's fault. Well, the judges that we have are qualified generally. They're intelligent. They understand the system that we work under, and they know that they too have to abide by the law. They're not exempt from the law. So when the criminal code says this is the punishment, that's it. They can't make it up as they go along. So the problems with respect to that sort of thing are all dealt with and should be dealt with by the politicians.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the RCMP, when they start blaming the judges can't fight back. So what do? They blame the judge. Judge says nothing because he really or she really can't. And you say to yourself, what kind of Mickey Mouse guys are this? Blame the judges. Because they misunderstand part of their job. Their job isn't to get a conviction. Their job is to do an investigation, prepare evidence, give it to Crown Counsel in BC, and Crown Counsel then says, yes, we're going to charge, or no, we're not going to charge. If as a result of the matter proceeding to court, a judge rules that the police work wasn't up to scratch, what is the policeman?
The judge's fault.
What does the policeman do? Blames the judge.
Yeah.
Or in the case of not charging Ludwig recently, blames Crown Counsel in British Columbia because an investigation that the Cowboys did in Alberta didn't well,
apparently. At least at this point, they still might come up with something. They were still searching the house for 2 days more.
And that's perfectly acceptable. And they may find evidence there. That's fine too.
And it was an unusual search because they did the search with 52 members of the family still on the premises.
Well,
when the hell did that ever happen before?
Yeah, and the point is this: where's he going to go? Why arrest him?
Yeah.
They did it to make themselves look good. That's all.
Still, they look silly.
A
little bit.
Yeah. So
they arrested him instead of just taking him in for questioning too.
Yeah.
Or inviting him down.
Yeah. Or wait until the end. You've got a full.
When you were a prosecutor, was Wally Opal a prosecutor then? Because that's the first time I ever met Wally Opal was with.
No.
73, and
Wally
was a prosecutor.
Yeah. No, he wasn't at that
and
time.
Stuart McMorrin was the.
Stuart was the city prosecutor when I was there, yeah. And
Wally Opal was there too.
Yeah, and Wally...
73.
Wally...
73, 74, 75.
He good guy and was a good judge.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't always agree with me, but I mean, who cares? The guy was a good judge. And most of our judges are responsible. They work hard. And they don't deserve to be attacked by any police force, but particularly the RCMP. Who knows? They just can't fight back, and that becomes a.
But there are judges that are better for some things. If you can get your case in front of that judge, there's maybe a little bit easier. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, but really what it boils down to, if you have a criminal case going in front of a Supreme Court judge, if you are going in front of a Supreme Court judge who has done a criminal practice, much better.
Yeah.
If you've got a matrimonial case...
And you've got a lawyer that's a judge that's used to be a matrimonial family lawyer.
Much better.
You've got a better case.
No, the end result may still be the same, but it's quicker and the court system moves better and faster.
Then they understand it.
That's right. So there's always a great thing about judge hopping and judge selection. It's really highly overrated in my experience.
I got a cute story to tell you in a couple of seconds.